we're going to be talking about lesson 7.1, starting a new module, and this is writing and solving one step inequalities. So I hope you have an idea from Laporte of what an inequality is, but we're going to be reviewing them here. So first, where do I want to start? Let's talk about meanings. So these two. These we should know from a while ago. This means less than, or less than, and this is greater than. Okay, now these ones, I'm going to erase that. Now these ones have the lines underneath, as you can see, and that means that it is, we still use the same beginning, less than and greater than, but we're now also including the line underneath, so it's less than or equal to. So it is either less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So it's the same ones as these, but if they have the line underneath, we include the words equal to. Okay, so then we're going to be plotting these. So when we plot them on a number line, if it has no line underneath, it is considered an open circle, and then we draw in whichever direction we need to. If it has a line underneath, it is a closed circle, which means we fill it in, and we draw our lines. Okay. Either if it's an open or closed, so if it's either, but if it's in this direction of less than, then we are going to draw our arrows in this direction. Okay, now you kind of get that from it because if you notice, that was our less than sign. So you can look at the sign itself. So same way here, you can look at it and you see, in this example, it's going to go in this direction. Okay. So I know it was kind of loud. Let's look at an example to kind of help us here. Example 1, x plus 5 is less than negative 12. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pretend that this symbol here is an equal sign for the time being. So if it was an equal sign, we would subtract 5 from both sides, and that would give us x is less than negative 17. Now we're just going to graph it, okay? So we need to look at a couple of things. Does it have a line underneath? In this example, it does not. So if we remember, it's going to be an open circle. What direction is it in? It's in this direction, so we know it's going to go in that direction. Okay, so now we know that. On negative 17, it's going to be an open circle because it has no line underneath. We're going to look at the sign, and we were going to see it goes in this direction. Oh, that was a terrible line. It's going, that was so bad. It's going to go in that direction. Okay? So now we're going to check it. We're going to use, because this means that from here, negative 17, and so on, those are all true statements. That means that whatever you plug in for x, it will be, oops, not a question mark, it will be true. If I plugged in anything on this side, it would not be true. Which means that if you plugged in negative 15 for x, it would not be true. But if you plugged in, for example, 18, it will be true. So we're going to see, we're going to try negative 18 right now. So we're going to plug in for x. So we have x is less than negative 17. And we're going to plug it in. Oops, that was our answer. I'm sorry. We use our original equation. X. I'm just going to erase it. X plus 5 is less than negative 12. So now we're going to plug it in. Negative 18 plus 5 is less than negative 12. We do some math, we get negative 13. So it's a negative 12. Remember, when it's negative, this one would be bigger. So this is true. So that's how we can check our work to make sure it's accurate. If we did like negative 15, for example, we would know it's not true. So now, a lot of people, now, if you're wondering, well, why can't we try out negative 17? That's because we are not including it. Remember, it's an open circle. It does not have the line underneath, which means we cannot check negative 17. If it was closed, underneath, it means we're including negative 17, and then we could check it. Let me erase some of this stuff on the bottom here just to kind of... Okay, let's look at example 2. Y minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 7. So first we need to add 5 to both sides. And that gives us y is greater than or equal to negative 2. So now we're going to plot it. This one is going to be a closed circle because remember that line underneath, so we're going to put negative 2. We're going to fill in negative 2. We're going to go in the direction that it has. And we're going to go in that direction. And we can check it. Let's do 0 because 0 is pretty easy. So 0 minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 7. And that is true. Okay. Yeah, because again, we'll look at the arrow sign. You could also just check negative 2. And that would actually give you negative 7 is greater than or equal to 7. Now, because we said equal to, is negative 7 equal to negative 7? Yes, which makes that also true. It should be equal if you're doing that. Okay. Example 3, y divided by 3 is greater than or equal to 5. Now, this is a fraction. I know it's so scary, but don't worry, we'll get through it. Now, we're going to times both sides by 3 because there's a variable. We aren't going to times it by its variable itself. So that cancels out, which gives us y is greater than or equal to 5 times 3, which is 15. So we're going to plot it. It is a closed circle, so on 15, we're going to close it. We're going to look at the arrow. We're going to go in that direction. I'm going to use 18 to verify it. So 18 divided by 3 is greater than or equal to 5. 18 divided by 3 is 6 is greater than 5. We know that is true. Okay, and that's all you do. So it's just like one-step equations, except in you're applying them on the number line. Okay. Let's look at example 5. Negative 4x is greater than 52. One thing we need to notice is that negative. That negative. Oh, that's okay. That was what I wanted to do. So a negative sign, when we have a negative, or when we're dividing by a negative, we need to switch the sign. Okay, that is super, super important because that's where a lot of mistakes happen because some people don't do that. So let's go through. Obviously, we need to divide this by a negative 4. I'm going to zoom in a lot. Negative 4 on both sides. We're dividing by negative, which means that this sign right here needs to be switched. This cancels out, it gives us x is now less than 52 divided by negative 4, which is negative 13. Okay. Let's select. Okay, so we had to, when we divide by negative, we're going to flip the sign. Okay? Even if it's equal to, if you're dividing by negative, you're going to switch the signs. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you don't, your answer will be completely wrong. It is on negative 13. It goes in this direction. And we can check it. I would suggest to check it if it's a negative and you aren't sure. Negative 4 times negative 15 is we're going to use the original sign, because remember we're doing the original question. Our original equation is greater than 52. This gives us 16 negative 10. Negative is a positive. It's greater than 52. That is true. So if you didn't flip the sign, you did that, and your statement wasn't coming out right, it's probably because you must have flipped in the sign if it had negative in it. That is a very common issue. Let's look at our last example, which is involving a real-world problem. Let me look at my notes here just so I know what I'm doing. Okay, example 6. A marine submersible. I don't know. I'm gonna say a submarine. A marine submarine descends more than 40 feet below sea level. As it descends from sea level, the change. I know I spelled that wrong. The change in elevation is negative 5 feet per second. For how many seconds does it descend? So, what we need to do is we need to find the number of seconds that the submersible descends below sea level. So some important information. So, what we need to understand, some important parts are right here is 5 feet per second. Okay, that's our important info. Are those 2 points. So, when it comes to making an equation, we need to formulate a plan. So it's going to be the rate of change times the time in seconds equals the final elevation. Now, in this case, we are doing an inequality. So how it would work is our rate of change. Our rate of change is negative 5. Now, do we know what the do we know how many seconds it took? No. So we're going to do a variable. I'm going to do t. And then our final elevation is less than negative 40, because 40 feet below sea level equivalents to negative 40. Okay, so now what we're going to do is now we're going to solve this. And we're going to times by negative 5. As you can see, we're dividing by a negative, so we're going to flip the sign, which gives us t. These are both negative, which makes a positive. 40 or negative 40 divided by negative 5 is 8. And that's our equation. We can check it. We have to do it greater than 8, so I'm going to do 9. So negative 5 times 9 is less than negative 40. Negative 45 is less than negative 40, which is true. Okay, oops. Yeah, there you go. If you